Okay, so back to Indigo Prophecy, and who shall we play as first? Let's go with Lucas.
Kane?
Yes, Lucas Kane. Agatha's house.
Name of the
Yeah, we
witch.
totally. I love how they told us. I love how they tell us the temperature. Yeah, because that's really important.
Gets colder and
like
colder.
Agatha Christie?
It's like that's the sad thing. This game suffers from Frank Miller syndrome. Always tell us where we are, when we are, and how hot or cold it is.
Now, I think the problem with Frank Miller syndrome was sort of like, well, we had no idea because of how much the times were based.
This is what Sin City's like.
Okay, so here's where things get well, actually, things have already gotten stupid in the previous part. So, so
Because
is
my
Agatha.
brother
I'm
told me
Agatha
to.
Christie.
Father Marcus Kane sent me here. I have a problem. I need to talk to her about it.
I was just going to stand up at the chair.
I know,
Okay, so here's my question. She's a crippled, blind old lady who lives alone in this house. How the hell does she manage?
Mate, well, considering what you've told me about David Cage, she'll be some sort of weird alien
I bet
who's in
she's superhuman.
disguise.
Wait a minute. Is she an alien?
She's not an alien. She's not an alien, but aside from the alien part, the dudes pretty much just called it.
The subtitles
goody.
don't match with what they're saying. Lives plus one.
We'll get to that when we get to that. For now, let's just pretend she's an old woman, even though dudes already already saw right through Cage's crap.
It's kind of obvious she's just a shelf or something. It's basically
can
the
see
Oreo
through-
coal stick.
I can see through a game that I haven't played or seen 1 second of yet.
Jova did that for Beyond.
Yeah.
The entirety of
Later
Beyond.
on, when Jova starts uploading more parts of Beyond, we should show you our Beyond playthrough. You'll see. Jova pretty much guesses everything that's gonna happen throughout the entire playthrough.
Without having played the game at all.
That's sad.
Even right down to what they did to Nathan's character.
That's how basic David Cage's writing is.
What is your Cage like?
That's the thing about David Cage. David Cage, yeah, that was. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but yeah, the Cage thing. But that's the thing about David Cage. He doesn't have the ability to actually tell a story or develop characters, so he just makes random things happen without any kind of coherency whatsoever.
Matrix
And then
sequels.
when he actually does something good, he doesn't do anything with it.
Called out to me for help.
In the cupboard, you will find a little bag of seeds.
Feed the birds, tuppence a bag.
Some to my little garden, will you?
Oh, I could just use my secret mind powers. No, wait.
So what, is she gonna like end up being in
Why the-
cahoots
why
with
have-
the antagonist or something?
Now I know.
Why do I have to feed birds?
Yeah, exactly. What does this add to the plot? It's not interesting gameplay. It has nothing to the plot. Why am I? Well, this is another thing in David Cage games. David Cage loves wasting the player's time.
Are you sure that this isn't just gonna be an elaborate trap?
Is this a game or is this meant to be have a story or is this a live sim?
David Cage doesn't intend to make quote-unquote video games. He intends on making interactive movies where supposedly your choices change how the story goes. The problem is that Heavy Rain was the only game he made where that actually kind of worked. In Beyond and in this game, the choices don't really change anything. At best, you'll get slightly different dialogue.
Beyond
This
pretty much
woman-
spat in your face for every ending except for the one where Jodie becomes a ghost.
Yeah.
This old woman's really reminding me of the architect. She speaks absolute nonsense and she sits in a chair.
That's the thing. This, when you actually...
She looks like the critic from Ratatouille.
You'll know if you actually watch this game from beginning to end, and like when you break down the story, it actually is pretty much a rip-off of the Matrix in a lot of ways.
Should be talking about anomalies next.
Actually, she kind of does at one point.
Oh my god, I called something again.
Careful, Jova, you're being replaced.
Yeah.
Ergo, concordant.
I've already called like
vis-a-vis.
2 or 3 things for this game, though. And
Very
also,
true.
I just
The
wanted to
only
know,
good
did I
thing-
call it when I said that she's probably going to end up being in cahoots with the antagonist because she's probably a spirit?
She's not going to... Well, I might as well say it because who the fuck cares about spoilers in this game? She's not in cahoots with the villain. She is one of the villains because there's 2 different villains who are after 2 different things.
Wow. So...
You know what?
So,
You know
yeah. So she's a villain.
So you might be asking, why the hell is she helping Lucas? There's no reason for
It's a
it.
trap. It's a trap.
Okay, now I should explain what the hell is going on here. Basically, this is one of those cases where you have to play this game to really understand what I'm going through. The walking controls in this game are horrible. Ugh, you have
Does he
to,
control? Do they control like a truck?
Do they control better when they're
No!
running?
I would argue that Superman 64 controls better than this. Because
I don't believe you. I
Wow.
don't believe you.
it gets to a point where I literally cannot... The character just literally will not go where I want him to go. It gets... Ugh.
That's harsh, though.
That sounds pretty bad for a game like this.
I know it's hard to believe, but trust me, if you actually play this game, you would know.
Does it control better or worse than 06?
And the sad thing, actually, I'd argue 06 controls better than this game, quite frankly.
Oh wow, then it must be terrible.
Was this game released in the UK? I'm not sure.
It was.
Yes, this is the European copy.
Yes, I am playing the UK version actually. So.
It's because sometimes games are released in Europe but not
No,
the
but this game
UK,
was-
even though we're part of Europe.
But this game was made in Europe, more specifically France. So,
Right.
David Cage is French.
Quantic Dream is a French company. So,
Aha! I knew the floating ticket was there.
Because I got a golden ticket.
yeah, yeah. Great idea to put in your interactive movie these bonus cards that give us bonus points, because that's not immersion breaking at all, is it?
Yeah. Well, there is no immersion. You might as well just burst into song thinking I've got a golden ticket.
So yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah.
So
Basic-
yeah, I sort of called it that she's in cahoots with the villain because she is one of the villains. Great.
No, I think, considering that Pedro just said the villains want 2 different things, I assume that they're not really in cahoots.
No, they're not
No,
in
no,
cahoots.
wait. I thought you said that she is one of the villains.
She's one
Yes,
of the-
but she's after a different thing than the other villain.
exactly. There's 2
They're
different.
not fighting for one thing.
There's 2 different villains.
No, don't sit next to her. It's a trap. No.
Great. So there's multiple villains in this. What? Is there gonna be a rogues gallery meeting or something?
I'd be surprised if that guy we're playing as is a villain.
He's a murderer. Kind of makes him a villain.
Oh, so he is.
Oh, but don't you know, he has a spirit in his head, so he's truly tormented.
Yeah.
No.
And it was apparently the spirit in his head who forced him to do it.
Yeah, okay. Writer who wrote this, that spirit in your head isn't really that.
David Cage wrote this.
Yes.
Yeah, David Cage, I'm not quite sure this is how it works. I'm no writer myself, but I'm not quite sure.
Actually, that's an interesting thing because David Cage at the beginning is the tutorial character for this game, and he even tells us right in our face,
Puts himself in the game.
you're playing in the game, and anything can happen in Fortnite.
And fittingly, you start the tutorial as a robot.
Which kind
Yeah,
of
that's
explains
really odd.
It actually explains some of the acting in this game, to be honest.
Yes.
Oh, we covered that. We figured out that everyone is a robot, and every character that's involved in something that's actually good is a failed experiment to him.
Okay, so basically what Agatha is doing here is she's doing some spirit channeling, I guess, and but except it's not really spirit channeling, it's more like time channeling, because she's throwing my spirit back into the past, to the night of the murder.
Oh, goody, ghost trick.
Now press the left. Now move the analog stick.
So yeah,
Now we're playing Simon Says again.
yes,
Simon Says, open your subconscious.
get used to that. Get used to that, because throughout this entire sequence, which lasts a long time, I'm gonna be doing Simon Says.
Can't you skip it like you did with all that boring stuff in the last part?
No, actually we can't. This is plot relevant.
Ah,
Oh,
of course.
Well-
The mysterious game of Simon Says could hold the very answer to this very case.
I should
Oh wait, I'm
also
getting this mixed
explain
up with
things.
Face Eternity.
I should also
looks like a bit of Mario Kart in there with all the ink all over the screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, you see, Dwibs, this is totally a game. I'm pressing buttons, aren't I?
From what I heard, I've seen a review, well, a bit of a review. It was actually on Beyond, but he talked about this game a bit. Yes, do you move the analog stick to where the colours say?
Yes.
I see some
So I've
So
heard it
take
kind of
it-
sucks.
That's the only thing that I'm doing. Literally. I'm playing a game of Simon Says.
I'm surprised you actually do Simon Says. Simon Says, move the analog stick to the top. Which analog stick? I don't know, move the analog stick.
Here's the
Oh no,
thing.
you kind of sound like salad fingers.
I would have much...
Do I?
I would have...
Yeah, when you do that voice.
I don't even know what salad fingers is.
Oh, okay then.
I would have much preferred if they actually this was just a cutscene where we watch, because think about this. I'm supposed to pay attention to this, and yet I
Yeah,
can't.
you're moving
Your
the
ass
stick.
push buttons, yeah.
Well, what happens if you mess up? Does it stop the scene and you die or something?
No, if I mess up, I wake up from my trance, and then we have to restart the whole thing.
So is the
Oh god.
But don't worry, I'm not messing up.
I remember him. He was urinating.
Why would he remember a guy taking a piss?
Because that was when he decided to kill him.
Yeah, that's the guy who's gonna get killed.
Right.
Yeah, this was the very beginning of the game.
Yeah, the game literally starts out with this scene.
So he's drunk in the scene, I take it.
No, he's possessed.
Oh. I thought I was just like, either he's drunk or he's possessed, or this is some very bad walking animation.
Both.
All three.
Yeah, better yet, all three.
I can't stop myself. I'm acting!
How is this supposed to be helping him again?
Oh, wouldn't this cause him more trauma?
Get your logic out of here.
This is a David Cage game. Get the logic away.
Logic exited the building the moment that the police force refused to DNA the handprint.
Yes, I am. I can see.
And test the blood.
Logic exited the building where we found out this is a David Cage game.
Oh yeah, that's another interesting thing that I didn't cut. That's another thing that I didn't caught up in when it comes to dweebs. See, dweebs, in Cage World, the police are completely incompetent morons. They
So
have blood from the killer. What should we do? Should we actually DNA test it to find out who it is? No, let's just ignore that and just try to figure out another evidence.
Police being incompetent morons. Are you sure that's David Cage world or is that Nolan Batman world?
I'm not gonna answer that.
Yes.
The police are incompetent IRL.
Yeah. Yeah, but I swear, well, I won't get into it much, but from what the Dark Knight makes the police in the real world look like geniuses.
So I can't see his face.
Wow.
And what does he say to you?
He says, "Why are you looking at me like that?"
My God, it's still going.
You need to
I've played the Tomb Raider Legends has better quick time events than this.
And as we found out last part, if you cut out all of the unnecessary stuff, this game goes from being 12 hours to 3 hours.
Man, why couldn't my family have been calling me in and out during this part instead of the Ace Attorney part?
Because your family hates you having fun. Apologies to your family if they heard that.
Don't worry, they didn't hear it.
Especially concerning the theme of magic.
This
So,
guy
while
even tries
this-
to sound like Morpheus.
What's happening, Lucas?
What's happening?
Nothing.
I don't know. The man...
Nothing is happening. We are all so bored.
So yeah, that guy in the cloak, that's supposed to be the other villain. That's not Agatha.
What happens after
See,
that?
David Cage, if you wanted to take inspiration from The Matrix, take it from the original, not the sequels.
I don't.
And by the
Believe in
way,
the power of magic.
I might as well say it now. This guy who's talking, he's the Oracle.
Then can be
Of course. So was I right that the woman is a shell for the Oracle?
No. This guy is the Oracle. This guy's got nothing to do with Agatha.
Wait, so let me get this straight. They all of a sudden introduced this new random spirit character into the mix?
But
Yes.
she's talking to me as if I was the one
If
who
you
was-
take the blue pill,
She
you'll
doesn't
be out
know
of
that
this
he's
game.
there. She can't
Thank
see
God.
him.
Unfortunately,
that's
he
what
took
they-
the green and yellow ones.
Listen, I don't want
I need so many blue pills right now.
There you go. See, this guy. This guy is the Oracle.
What? Is this an actual language or did David Cage make this up?
I wouldn't be surprised if David Cage made this up. So yeah, the Oracle has now possessed him, so he could use him to kill that old man. For what purpose, we will learn later.
God, this
Well,
voice
as
As
acting
you
the
is
old
learn
man,
from
like-
Beyond, David Cage doesn't know a hell of a lot about the real world, so I really wouldn't be surprised if this was pulled out of his backside.
So, I'm guessing that the old man that the Oracle had him kill was sort of a passenger for another spirit, or was a spirit in disguise.
This acting's reminding me of old Resident Evil.
Well,
Oh, I'm sorry, Jabba. Could you repeat your question?
I'm guessing that the guy that the Oracle had him kill was... Well, he was either a passenger for a spirit, or he was a spirit in disguise, or he was a reincarnate.
Actually, no. He was just a random guy.
So
there was
murder
no
for the sake of
purpose.
murder.
No, we're gonna learn something later.
What, was it to send a message to the city or to other spirits?
We'll see later.
I take that as a yes.
So,
Oh,
the
boy.
so the quick time's over.
You know who that man was, don't you, Agatha?
No, I don't know. I'm
Objection!
not sure who he is.
Yes, you do know who he is.
How do you know she knows
You
who she
stood it all as
is?
soon as you felt the
I
spark.
don't know.
Because she's being extremely defensive.
He's all like,
Tell me what that man
you know
done.
who he is. How do you know she
Let it
knows?
go now, Lucas. There's nothing more that I can do for you.
You could at least explain what the hell's happening to me. He
Thank
let me
you.
kill a man.
Thank
I want
God,
to know.
God knows we needed one.
What Lucas said.
I have to verify certain things. There's nothing more I can tell you today. Come back tomorrow night at the same time. I'll explain more then.
No.
Jabba.
I demand an explanation right now. For the sake that
No.
you were very being cast into a suspicious light, Miss Agatha.
No, you see, Jova. Cage wants to keep you in suspense.
This isn't suspense.
It's drawing
this is
out.
And I haven't even seen most of this.
So I've already caught you up on the story. Trust me.
Yes.
There's nothing more to. I told you.
Right. Murder mystery, all of a sudden, bugs.
Okay, so basically, this is another one of those chapters that's kind of a waste of time. And this is the closest thing David Cage has ever gotten to making an actual game.
Would you mind if I asked you a few questions concerning one of my investigations?
I know what.
No. We're gonna have ourselves a shooting minigame.
It's concerning
I was just going to interrogate him like that game.
the Kirsten case?
Oh yeah, the Kristen case. Basically,
Yes.
Carl is trying to find out
File's been
who's the murderer is, even though she already has the
Sure.
blood.
Why
The
not?
blood. And she could,
And the
There was also a
fingerprints and the
giant handprint on the wall that no one actually looked at.
yeah,
Not
that's
to
it.
mention they've mentioned constantly that they have fingerprints all over the places, which they have cross-examined and could easily identify.
They also have the murderer's blood.
Not to
So,
mention that there's a
top
police
pocket.
officer who recognizes him from the scene.
It's
So she wanted to ask him questions, but he's having her shoot things.
And you know what's funny? Apparently the only reason this guy hasn't been brought to justice is because apparently the police officer who could have turned him in apparently figured, oh, well, he saved a kid's life, so that completely excuses the fact that he murdered a man.
No, it doesn't.
See the thing, Joe. Not Joe, but Dweeb. See the thing, Dweeb, is that this was before David Cage made that partnership with Sony. So this was before he had complete creative control over his games. So he was forced to shoehorn some mini games here and there because this is a game; it has to have gameplay, which is why Beyond was the way it was. It was David Cage completely uncaged. So,
no pun intended.
Yes, pun totally intended. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a shoot. I know what you're gonna say, Joe, but it's a gameplay. No, it's not. Trust me, this gets old really fast. You're just shooting. There's literally nothing to
More
this.
gameplay than Beyond Two Souls was actually what I was going to say.
This looks like a game you play at the arcade.
Yeah.
And I've been in the arcade actually. Well, the bowling, but there's an arcade.
The thing about
there.
David Cage is he was a figure in his original field, which was filmmaking, so for some reason he decided to take it out on us. And during a press conference that Pedro and Jova showed me, he spent the entire time talking about films, despite the fact he was at a video game conference.
Wasn't that the one
It was
where
so
the guy
glorious when
charged
we
him?
actually got to point out contradiction after contradiction in that
It's
thing.
the one where he talks about polygons.
Was that the one where that Sony guy fell asleep?
No. That's a
Wait a
different-
minute, someone fell asleep?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. There's a conference that David Cage had once where the president of Sony Japan fell asleep while listening to it.
Wow! That is awesome.
I'm not sure that the two of you guys know.
Oh, please do.
But the point is,
We've got to attach that to one of our playthroughs eventually.
basically, in the PS4 event that happened last year, David appeared talking about how the PS4 was going to completely, there's no boundaries anymore. Developers are only now limited by their imagination and shit like that. Basically, he spends he gets on stage and he's all like, okay, I'm in a game conference now, so I'm going to start talking about movies. And then he starts talking about how movies back in the black and white days were limited by the early cinematography techniques and shit like that. And I'm like, get to the point. This is a game conference, you
Because
moron.
talking about films helped the Xbox conference a lot.
Indeed.
I'm sorry, but someone falling asleep during a conference with David Cage is almost as good as what Sony did to Microsoft at E3
The
last
fact
year.
that it was Sony's own president who fell asleep, though.
That is fantastic.
We have complete and utter confidence in David Cage.
He's worked with Sony, so...
Yeah.
It's because he makes money. But the point is, and there's also, of course, the wonderful DICE panel he made where he's basically claiming that in
That
order
was
to...
the one we cross-examined.
Yeah. Basically, in order to, as I said in the sadness topic in SSMB, basically David Cage thinks that the only way video games can become art is if they become a poor imitating film. And then he makes his games this way.
He tries to make visual novels, but visual novels are actually a lot better than what David Cage is making them out to be.
Visual novels actually give you endings that actually depend on your choices and, actually go through to the end.
Like Phoenix Wright?
No, Phoenix Wright doesn't do that.
Phoenix Wright is more like an adventure genre.
And let's go with Walking
More
Dead.
like something like School Days.
Or that.
We said this last part.
I've heard of that. I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Okay.
It's
But yeah,
basically
he
a
goes
visual
on and...
novel series about this. It's about dating, and well, yes, it involves yanderes. Basically, there's multiple good endings, or bad endings, or neutral endings, or just straight out weird endings. Either way, though, basically the main thing is that every ending is affected by your line of choices. And down to the bone.
Okay.
To the point where it's practically hard to get the good endings. Also to do with the fact that you're sort of playing as your usual jerk character, but this time multiplied by 20.
The thing about David Cage is he says there are multiple endings. I can be honest, there was supposedly 24, I think you said, but the thing is, there isn't. I mean, a lot of the endings
24.
differ in that they're the same dialogue, but the character is talking in different locations. They're in the same location over and over again, but the dialogue is tweaked by like 2 words.
Wait, didn't we just do this shooting?
Stop your investigation there.
Yes, 2 times actually.
No, this case.
He forces me
Why
to
did we have
shoot.
to do that twice?
Because the game forces me. I have no choice.
Why?
If he didn't want to answer questions while she was shooting, he could just walk off.
There'd been other killings.
Okay.
Just be sneaky.
You mean where the killer had the
Hey,
same
police
bizarre
chief,
MO and
one of your
stuck around
officers
afterwards?
might be giving us a bit of back tongue and not telling us information that we need desperately. Maybe you might want to have a word with him in your office.
Then I discovered a third case. 2 months prior to that.
No?
Then another.
Nope, apparently not.
And always.
Well, then again, this is the same police force that let a policewoman with claustrophobia that could easily kill her just go into the dark cavern alone.
All these cases, the purple
Yep.
Forest?
Nope.
Oh,
Either they
Oh yeah, that's right.
committed
Carla
suicide
suffers from
or
claustrophobia.
they went nuts.
Yeah, and last part, the police force just has her go into a dark, tight area, alone, without any assistance.
Very precisely.
Because that's good police work, right? What was that you're saying, Dwibs, about the Batman cops?
I'll give one example. In Dark Knight, when the Joker's driving away from the bank in a bus,
I remember that.
there's clearly
Starting a new file.
there's
No, but
clearly a trail of smoke as when the police arrive and they don't do anything.
Dwibs, you look like you're not very familiar with Batman lore. The police force in Gotham is full of corrupted officers who don't give a shit.
It doesn't feel like corrupt. It just feels like they're morons, or is it the same thing?
That sort of is the case,
No,
that
no.
they're very corrupt. Oh, whoa, nope.
Wait,
You
what?
should be freezing to death in those sort of fits.
I'm sorry, you can't play basketball in snow.
Okay,
Come on!
Let's
Really?
play basketball.
Okay, I should explain what's going on because Dwibs is our special guest. He doesn't know this. Basically, in an earlier chapter, these two were basically the black dude owed the other guy some money. So they're like, okay, if you can beat me in a b-ball game, I'll pay you. If not, we're even. So basically, yeah, this is a complete waste of our time.
This is stupid! Why are we not playing in an indoor basketball court, for one thing?
And what's with
Okay,
this,
there's going to be ice on the floor. You lot should be falling on your asses.
what's with this crap R&B music? Because I think it's R&B.
May Utada Hikaru have mercy on your soul.
Yep.
That's someone who knows how to do R&B right.
See, you have to understand, Dwibs, about the music, Dwibs. You have to understand, this is another thing about David Cage. He has no idea what the word subtle means. He, like for example, in an earlier chapter of this game, there's a sex scene, and when the sex scene starts, they play this real...
In another chapter? In 2 chapters?
Yeah. Every time when there's a sex scene in this game, it's always played to really over the top softcore porn music.
This is starting to feel like The Room. Random sports stuff that doesn't have anything to do with anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, guys, have your body temperatures frozen down to the point where you're inevitably gonna have to slow down because, physically, the cold would pretty much freeze you in your tracks eventually with the way you're dressed.
I would be surprised if they could play this forever and eventually it'll cut to when they're both frozen icicles. That guy could be in the air. He's about to throw the ball, but he freezes and then he falls to the ground and shatters to pieces.
This is just outright goofy. What is the point of having an outdoor
This is like
basketball game out in the freezing snow? There's no reason.
This is like one of those feature-length Disney Channel movies. It's awful.
I mean, maybe if this were a game like
What minute we're
backyard
investigating?
basketball. I mean, street basketball, but then
Hey,
again, that
Tyler.
was street basketball.
It's like in the previous one where we had a boxing match between Tyler and Carla, which once again
At
was
least
a
that was
complete waste of time.
indoors, and they,
You know, dude. Say what you want about Gotham's cost, but at least they don't completely stop in the middle of an investigation to have a boxing match or a basketball game.
I'm sorry, I'm just stuck on the fact that they're in completely... The things they're wearing would lead to them either dying of hypothermia or very well just being slowed down by the cold and awfully diseased by it.
I don't know, David Cage would probably say something like, "Oh no, it's not cold, it's ash of some sort that looks like snow."
Right. Yes, it's all ash. Which would then mean that they're close to a volcano which is inevitably going to erupt.
Dude, wait a minute. What the
Yeah, he's
fuck-
got no excuse,
What
has
the
he?
hell? What the hell kind of expression was that? You be up pretty good. What the hell does that mean?
Who says that?
The dialogue is unbearable.
What? I'm speechless. I have no idea what the hell does that mean.
It's okay, Pedro. The part's over anyway,
Yeah.
so...
This makes George Lucas look like Shakespeare.
And we end on that note. Good night, folks.